After revolutionizing the wrestling industry and dominating the cable TV charts for almost 2 years, Turner Broadcasting took notice of the success of Monday Nitro to ask Eric Bischoff for another 2 hours of primetime television from the WCW product on Thursdays, as we're looking at the top 10 most watched Thunder episodes in its history. 3 days from the Halloween Havoc pay-per-view, Thunder was focused mainly on the final hype for the event, first with Dallas Page coming out for a promo, saying that this Sunday Goldberg will be next to take the Diamond Cutter in a match hyped by Page as the biggest of his career. After starting the first hour with a 3.7 overall rating, Thunder picked up big at the top of the hour, first with Luger vs. Riggs going 6 minutes, followed by video packages recapping the recent Flair vs. Bischoff segments and a Conan vs. Armstrong match. WCW opened the final quarter with another Havoc hype video for Sting vs. Bret Hart, followed by the Horsemen coming out moments later, closing the show with a Sting vs. Giant main event, with Thunder's second hour jumping over 800,000 viewers to a 4.4 rating and over 5 million viewers. After being off the show for the past 2 weeks, the top players of the Wolfpack were back on Thunder with a hyped main event of Hall and Nash against Rey Mysterio and Conan. Hall and Nash came out unannounced to continue to disrupt the tag titles tournament, telling Enos and Duncombe to get out of the ring before being attacked to start an impromptu match, with the Outsiders returning 20 minutes later for the main event, going 12 minutes against Conan and Rey to peak the night with over 5.5 million viewers, before closing the show in another NWO beatdown to lead up to Monday. 3 days from a loaded uncensored pay-per-view, WCW had the final build-up for the top 3 matches of Giant vs. Nash, Hall vs. Sting and Savage vs. Hogan, all set for Thunder with several angles throughout, starting with Giant calling out Nash for tonight before Savage followed by Sting walked to the ring, ending up with Savage and Sting confronting each other after Savage targeted Sting's title, setting up a massive Sting vs. Savage main event for later tonight. Thunder picked up big in the second hour, jumping from a 3.7 to 4.5 rating, first with Hogan, Hall and Bischoff coming out for a promo at 9 p.m. hyping their pay-per-view matches, with Hall making reference to the rumors of the legit heat between him and Nash to Hogan and Bischoff following the firing of Waltman. Hall and Hogan were back out 30 minutes later for an NWO vs. Giant handicap match that saw Nash showing up for the first time on the night, with the Savage vs. Sting main event ending in a brawl with Hall and Hogan in the final hype segment for the pay-per-view, as Thunder continued its run with a near-record 4.1 rating. In the first show since WCW's 83-week streak was ended on Monday, the company planned the response for Nitro, setting up 2 title matches with Hogan and Goldberg challenging for the World and US titles, while building the show on the continuation of the NWO split to 2 groups, with Nash, Hogan and Savage all cutting promos to build for the explosion on Sunday, along with a big star power main event of Savage and Nash against Sting and Bret Hart. Savage, Nash, Sting and Hart came out 12 minutes from the top of the hour and crossing into the overrun on TBS, with the tag match peaking the night with a 5.1 rating and over 6 million viewers, among the highest rated segments in Thunder history. With talks of him leading the committee going over 2 months back, Thunder on January 21 from Indianapolis was, according to Nash, the only show he had full creative control over, with him writing the entire TV script. The show was built on NWO Black and White and a series of skits complaining about them being the B team to the Wolfpack, with Vince playing the Wolfpack undercover to report to the group, including him telling the NWO to now call him Vince instead of Vincent, while drinking eggs, in another reference to McMahon during his Royal Rumble training skits going on Raw in the last few weeks, ending up with the Wolfpack watching the monitor from their limousine and a hidden camera in the NWO locker room in the building. The other big segment of the night saw Ric Flair cutting another trademark promo on Hogan in the build to their Super Brawl pay-per-view match, comparing their legacies and the business for the past 20 years, with the main event of the night seeing the Horsemen going over the NWO in a 6-man tag with Flair putting the figure 4 on Vince for the finish, as WCW continued its hot run in January with Thunder drawing one of its highest ever ratings with a 4.2. The build-up to the Sting vs. Hogan rematch at Super Brawl along with the teased NWO split with Savage confronting the entire group on Monday, saw another twist continuing on Thunder with Scott Hall reminding Hogan and Sting that he's the #1 contender. Hall opened Thunder's second hour bumping the show to over 5 million viewers, calling out Roddy Piper saying that he's next in line for a title shot, before bringing out Dusty Rhodes for his first heel promo since joining the NWO, cutting a promo on management for making him a commentator followed by Hall going over Disco in a 3-minute match. Thunder's main event saw Nash and Conan against Trick and Scott with another hint of Scott turning on Rick during the match, ending the show with Nash getting fined and arrested again after a powerbomb on the referee, with Thunder drawing its highest rating to date with a 4.2. 3 days after one of the most memorable swerves in wrestling TV history with the reformation of the NWO at the Georgia Dome, the new Wolfpack were set for their first appearance since the turn along with strong anticipation for the response from Goldberg and Flair. Flair was out first cutting an intense promo on Hogan and Nash regarding their finger poke match, talking about the tradition of the title and promising to get them and Bischoff with a meeting with Eric set for Friday in the WCW headquarters, as Thunder already jumped over 800,000 viewers for the Flair segment in the second quarter doing a 4.1 rating, with the Wolfpack arriving to the building moments later all wearing the red and black shirts for the first time. The entire Wolfpack walked to the ring 10 minutes later for the first promo since the turn, with Nash and Hogan mocking Flair's tradition promo saying that Monday was the toughest match of their careers, before turning to Goldberg saying that they're gonna have a special backup group with them on Monday, as Giant walked to the ring setting up the main event for the show with Nash vs. Giant in a loser leaves NWO match in what would also be Paul White's final match in the company, with the NWO segment bumping Thunder to a peak 4.7 rating at the top of the hour, with Thunder after WCW and off the air on Monday with one of the biggest audiences in show history, jumped to a 4.3 rating, its joint second highest rating ever and the biggest in 5 months. After breaking company records on almost a weekly basis since the start of the year, Thunder on March 5 was built on Hogan and Savage getting personal to take the feud to the next level with worked shoot promos back and forth throughout the night. Hogan opened the show with the NWO cutting a promo on Savage while setting up Bryan Adams vs. Savage for later tonight, including Hogan and Bischoff taking a shot at Savage receiving the Harvard Man of the Year award, with Hogan saying that Elizabeth was once his manager and knows who the real man is. Thunder grew throughout the first hour in anticipation for Savage's arrival, picking up from a 3.7 to a 4 rating for 3 matches including Goldberg, Juventud and Eddie, with Savage coming out moments later to bump Thunder over 700,000 viewers to a 4.5 rating, calling out Hogan and Adams for his response promo, saying that Hogan thinks he's the leader of the NWO while everyone is calling him just waiting for the chance to stab him in the back. Setting up the main event with Savage saying that after he's done with Adams he wants Hogan in the ring tonight. Hogan, Savage and Adams came out 8 minutes from the top of the hour, with Savage responding to Hogan's shot at Elizabeth earlier telling him that if he wants to know who the man is he can ask his wife. The Adams vs. Savage match turned into a 3-way brawl with Savage taking on both before the NWO's interference to bring out Sting for the save, peaking the night with a 4.6 rating and over 5.4 million viewers, as Savage and Hogan continued the hottest feud in the business, adding another record with Thunder drawing an all-time high 4.3 rating. With Warriors Wrestling Television return on Monday spiking viewership to one of the highest-rated segments in history, the hype carried over to Thursday with Thunder getting a major boost, jumping to its highest rating in over 5 months and the second highest ever overall. Knowing the increased interest on the night, the announcers hyped the footage of the return since going on the air, with the segment replay coming half-hour, and bumped Thunder big with over 1.1 million viewers from a 3.1 to 4.1 rating, with the show continuing to climb in the second hour with a Bret Hart interview along with an NWO match and Draven's Flock segment picking up to a 4.6 rating. Thunder peaked with a 4.8 rating for a Giant interview, Curt Hennig vs. Mongo, and Giant with Scott Hall vs. Stevie Ray, before finishing with another Warrior highlight video package in the build to Monday. With the Hogan vs. Nash NWO split now a matter of time, with both teasing turning on each other in the last week of television, March 26 saw WCW building Thunder on a hyped confrontation between them to open up all the worked and legit issues going on in the TV storylines and behind the scenes. Thunder featured a series of matches throughout the 2 hours, with the big segment of the night coming in the second quarter, as Hogan and Bischoff walked to the ring to call out Nash for one of the most talked about segments of the year so far, coming 4 days before Sean Waltman made his WWF return with a shoot promo on Raw. As with Scott Hall off television with personal issues and Waltman fired, Nash was isolated without his Wolfpack Clique buddies for the first time in years. Nash told Hogan that while he claims to be the leader, everybody knows that the heart and soul of the NWO is the Wolfpack, asking him why Six doesn't have a job anymore and Hall wasn't allowed on television, as knowing that Waltman already signed with McMahon. Hogan responded that Waltman was fired because he can't cut it in the big leagues of the NWO, turning shoot into TV storylines with the perceived legit issues going on backstage. Over an hour later, Hogan and Nash continued the build for the split, teaming up against Sting and Luger in the main event, ending up with Randy Savage running in and another Nash-Hogan confrontation, as Thunder broke all records, peaking with around 6 million viewers in the second hour, with the show overall drawing its highest ever rating with a 4.4.